We had a very inspirational session with Mr. Sujan. Thank you, sir. Next, we have an opportunity to get to know ourselves in a better way, our strengths, interests, and suitable careers. Up next is a psychometric test, which will be facilitated by Mr. George Chen. Uh, Mr. George Chen hails from Shillong. He has completed his post-graduation studies in counseling psychology. In addition, he has also completed his certificate course in career counseling and also certificate in life skills. He is passionate to guide and counsel young people and leading them to achieve the best in life. He enjoys adventures like cycling, swimming, and trekking. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I'm glad to be a part of ICPF Delhi for this opportunity to have this session with you. Indeed, it's very interesting to listen to you all. As like Richie said, all the smart minds, they're talking and sharing experiences. It's a learning moment for me as well, and especially with what Brother Sujan Abraham has shared just now about hard work, determination, passion, learning, priority, and values. These are very important for us to understand ourselves and to know ourselves better and to get focused and to move on in life and to pursue our goals. Okay, without further ado, well, my name is George Chen, like sister here has introduced. I'm working as a career counselor. At the same time, I'm doing other things as well. I'm from Shillong and I'm also working in Nepal as well. So this is my passion, to interact with students, to interact and understand their gifts, their talents, and their abilities. So like we said, we mentioned about psychometric tests, and let me share my screen if they can give me permission. I'll just share my screen. I have some slides to present. Well, today's psychometric test would be based on more of evaluating yourselves, understanding, what's your potential inside of you. So let me just share my screen here. Okay, I hope you can see. Yeah. So finding your strengths, that's one very important for us, especially when we talk about career, okay? You don't just make choices, you just don't pick up a course or an institute based on random decision, but you'd have to understand what are your abilities, what are your strengths, what you like and what you dislike. So the first thing is for us to understand why we need a career counseling, why we need to do these tests is what makes career so different? Why is it so important? Okay, so we need to differentiate between a work, job, and career. Understanding these differences will make us understand what are our priorities, what we must do, okay, to get ahead and to excel or to be successful in life. The difference between work, job, and career is that work is something we do voluntarily without getting paid. Like my mom or my dad would ask me to clean my room, or to clean the house, or to wash the car, or to clean the garden. I do it voluntarily. I'm not getting paid for it. I just do it. What about job? That's work, okay? Job is something we do that we may not like it. I may not even be good at it, but I'm just doing it for the sake of the money. I'm just doing it because I'm getting a salary. For example, I finished my graduation, I finished my post-graduation, I finished my net, but I don't like teaching, but I'm just doing it for the sake of for the money. That's a job because we don't really have a passion in it. But what sets career different from work and job is that career, you use your interests, you use your ability, and as a bonus, you get paid. So that's why we focus on career counseling rather than job counseling or work counseling. So we focus on using your own skills, your own interests, your own ability to to get to your goals, and as a bonus, you get paid for it. So that makes it all different. So when we talk of career counseling or career guidance, the first thing we need to do is, like, we have to understand ourselves, and this is called the career discovery path. The career discovery part, the first thing you have to do is understand yourself, understand your interest, understand your ability, understand your potential. And that makes the very beginning of everything. Okay. And after you have understand yourself, it's like looking in the mirror. When you look at yourself and you see your own abilities, your own strengths, then you know where you fit in the world of work. Okay, there's a lot to understand in the world of work. And after that, that's when you make choices. Okay, you don't just choose one career option, you make 2 or 3, so that you don't get stuck. You don't get depressed just by not achieving one goal, but you already have a backup plan. And just making the choice itself doesn't get you anywhere. You have to prepare, you have to work hard, like Brother Abraham just said just now. You have to work hard, you have to put in determination. So those are the things that we need to understand once we get into career discussion. Okay, so this is the career discovery part that we need to understand for us to be able to understand ourselves, understand the world around us, make choices, and work hard to get to those goals. Okay. Before we get into before I explain to you about the psychometric test, we have to understand that these certain terms that we'll be using throughout the test, it's called linguistic potential. It stands for L. You'll be seeing a lot of this throughout the test with L, AL, S, P, PM. What does this stand for? It's about linguistic. L stands for linguistic potential. AL stands for analytical logical potential. S stands for spatial potential. P stands for personal potential. PM stands for physical mechanical potential. Okay, so this psychometric test is designed for us in India, in the context of Indians. So it helps us to understand. In other words, they can be called as Panchaloka. Okay, Panchaloka, or the 5 pillars for that resembles our talents, our gifts, our abilities. Okay, so I believe all of us, we have talents, we have gifts, we have abilities. It's just tapping into those potential, using them, understanding them. That's when we be able to excel, to get ahead, and to use our gifts and abilities to be for developing a career. Okay. So what we're using here is a tool developed by Jiva Education Career Education Program. It's a Bangalore-based organization under the Promise Foundation. So all the copyright is it's under this organization, and only trained counselors and trained professionals will be able to use this. So what we do, this is actually just a 5 or 10% of the whole education program that we compacted it for, for the benefit of our students, community here. So this programs helps us to understand ourselves, understanding world of work, understanding things more about career education, more about career information, more about the choices that make, the planning and everything. Okay, the first thing I believe we need to understand in order to proceed ahead with the psychometric test is that we have to be able to log in the website that is, I think, the organizers will be sending you a link. You have to register if you've not registered, log into your username and password, and you log in, and once you registered and you log in, you remember your password, you log in, that's where it will show you the next slide, and you'll be able to proceed further. So on this psychometric test, we'll be having interest profile, where there'll be a self-evaluation. You will be evaluating your own self on these things, on the interest profile. because your interest plays a very important role, when it comes to understanding yourself, because there's interest and there's ability, and that makes your potential. Okay, so when it comes to interest profile, there'll be a set of 60 questions, covering all the 5 areas of A, L, L, P, S, P, M. Okay, all the 5 potentials. It will cover all these all these areas in 60 questions. That's when it will ask you question based on your attention. Anything that that you like to give your attention to, that drives out your curiosity, that you like to pursue, or that is worthwhile your time. Okay, anything that influences you. That's mostly sum up what interest profile is all about. It's a range of 60 activities that have been listed out, tried and tested, and it's something that we are engaged in every day and in most part of our lives. And right from school, right from whether we're in high school or secondary school, or even in colleges or post-graduation in universities, these are things that we are engaged in many ways. Okay, so when it comes to interest profile, so these things will be asked of you, and these are based on attention, what you give your attention to, your curiosity, what you like to pursue, which is worthwhile your time. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example with the next slide. Okay, so once you log in, you'll find this screen in front of you. And once you find the screen, you'd have to have these multiple choices. Okay, so it's like this would be the activity. This would be the activity that we mentioned. Write essays and write essays and articles. Okay, that would be an activity that would be mentioned. So your work would be to choose a degree of how much you like when it comes to writing essays. Okay, whether you find them bit interested, or somewhat interested, quite interested, or highly interested. These are the degrees of which you enjoy doing this activity. Maybe, for example, writing essays and articles. Do you enjoy it? It's like, okay, I don't enjoy it, but somehow I'm engaged in it. Okay, these are activities that we are normally engaged in most of our academic life. Okay, so you can't say no, I don't write essays. You might not write a proper essay, but still you've answered a long question about 100 to 150 marks. So that is equal to writing essays. Okay, so somehow you'll always engage in these kind of activities. So but the degree of how much you like or you dislike depends on you. You might like it, you might not like it, but still that would fall on the bit interested, because you always have to write something or the other. You might enjoy it, maybe somewhat interested. I really like it. Okay, maybe interested. I enjoy it, quite interested. I very much like it or very much enjoy it. Then you'd be highly interested. So you can give only one option. You can choose only one from the following, either the first or the second, the third, the fourth, or the fifth. Okay, so there will be about 60 of these questions, and you'd have to press in on these dots here, on these dots, either for this, you have to press on for that, like that, and then after that, just one you'll press, and the next thing you do is press the next button. And then that will lead you to the next question. Okay, our friends here, with the ICPF team, they've done a great job with designing the whole layout so it'd be convenient for you. So this is what happens when we talk about the interest profile. Okay, I think the link has just been sent to you. You can register. You can fill in. Today evening.
So
Okay.
just a quick one here. The
Yes. Yes.
link has been posted of the test on the chat. The username for logging into the test would be the email address that you've registered with. So if you don't know which email address you have registered, you can contact us on chat. We can tell you which email address do we have of yours. And the password is common password, which is 12345667 hash. I've posted the details on the chat as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. That's the information laid out to our student community here who would like to participate in the psychometric test. So the first section, like I mentioned, is about the interest profile. So the interest profile ranges about your interests, your likes, and what drives your curiosity, what drives your you like to pursue, or it's worthwhile your time. Okay. And the next section after that, after the 60 questions that you've answered, the next section would be on accomplishment profile, okay? Ability, your strengths, okay? What you have achieved or what people have recognized in you, the ability, or what people have acknowledged that you're good at, okay? It comes very natural to you. It's part of your capability. It's something that you do well. It's something that you don't have to put in too much effort to excel, okay? It's all part of us. It's all there in us in different areas. This is also laid out in all the 5 areas of potential, and you have a set of 20 questions in this section, okay? So you just have to answer them. You just have to click which is appropriate. This requires your honesty because it's all about evaluating yourself. You need to be honest to yourself. It's not about scoring high points, high marks, or high numbers, but it's about your honesty and where you're able to participate and you're able to do well, okay? Okay. This is when it comes to accomplishment. The first thing we did was on interest profile, and the second is about the accomplishment, where you are able to do naturally well, you're good at it, you've been acknowledged for the work that you've done, you've won prizes, or you've been, given responsibilities. So it's about what you have accomplished, okay? So, so the next slide that will be, it's about, you'll see this section, okay? So the first section, the first 60 questions will be based on your interest, and the next 20 questions will be based on your accomplishments. Your accomplishments is based on similar activities. It's laid out there at the top, linguistic, whether writing essays. Okay, do you like writing essays? I am involved in this activity at a personal level, which means I'm engaged in this activity, regularly. I do it, okay? And the next option is I have participated in events, competition. Maybe you've participated in essay competition in schools. And the next level of activity, level of engagement, level of participation is I've won prizes at school, or my work was selected for school publication. Okay, when you say I've won prizes, maybe you've won a medal, maybe you've won a certificate, or maybe teachers have acknowledged that, okay, your essay was really good. Your essay it's outstanding. That is also an accomplishment. That is also equal to winning a prize, okay? So consider yourself, keep these things in mind. The difference between interest profile and accomplishment is that while in the interest profile, you can only choose, you can only choose one option, okay? You can only choose one. You can only choose one from all these options are available. However, when it comes to uh, accomplishments, then you can make all the 5 choices if it's applicable to you. Whichever is applicable, you can make the choice. If it's that, you, or the second one, or the third one, you're engaged in that in outside school, you can click the third one, you can even click the fourth one, or you can even click just one, whichever is applicable. There are no rules, okay, but you cannot leave it blank, okay. These are activities that somehow we are engaged in them in one way or the other, okay, even just at a personal level, which means uh, somehow you've done this in school or in your academic pursuit, okay, in one way or the other. So you can choose, you can click whichever is applicable to you, all the 5 also, it doesn't matter, as long as it's true and that you're and you've engaged in that activity in as mentioned, or you can even click in just 1 or 2, whichever is applicable to you. The thing is, you have to be honest to yourself, because this is not about me. It's not about, a report card or scores. It's about understanding yourself. And that is very crucial. And that is very important here, because at the end of this, it's all about you understanding what are your talents, what are your abilities, because that's a question we all face. Okay, I face that question. I struggle with that even in my post school days. Okay, even my 11 12 standard, struggling that, what are my talents, what are my abilities. It was only after much struggle, after much introspection, that God enabled me to understand, his gifts, his talents, and his abilities for me. So this is where you need to also be true to yourself. Tick which is applicable. You can tick all the 5, it doesn't matter, as long as it's applicable to you, or you can tick 1 or 2, whichever area is relevant to you. Okay, so that's about your finding your strength. This finding your strength, when it comes to accomplishment, it has about 20 questions. I hope it's clear. I hope I'm trying as much as I can to be quick so that you can get on with the test as well. So, okay. The next section would involve your parents, okay? This may be difficult, or it may be, very easy for you because your parents may be at home. If not, your parents are at work, but you can still ask their help here. This is where we believe, the parents' opinion about you matters a lot. What they think about you, because they have seen you all the days of their life, and they know you, and they, they've raised you up. So we believe their contribution, their observation of you matters a lot in you trying to understand yourself. So this is where parents are involved, okay? It doesn't take much time. It just takes less than 1 minute. This is where you can engage your parents, okay? So there are lists about 4 areas and 5 areas where your parents will grade you. They have to be honest so that you will get your correct scores as well. In which area they think you are most effective, whether in linguistic, whether in analytical logical potential, whether in personal potential, spatial potential, or physical mechanical. The description is given there. As you do the test, the description, a brief description of the strength or the potential is highlighted there. Your parents can read it, and they can grade you at, whether your linguistics is at very low, or your linguistic potential is very low or high or very high, just in 4 areas. So this would require your parents' participation. It would be good if they can participate, so you can get your scores and you can get to understand yourself better. And in the next, after you've done this, once you've submitted all the 5 questions here, you have about 5 questions, there will be a small, this submit option will appear. If you have not answered all the questions, this will not appear. Only at the end of all the questions which you have, participated and actively submitted your answers as well, you'll find this orange yellowish button where you can submit. So your whole psychometric test comes here, and you can submit that. Once you finish everything, and there's nothing more that you want to check or anything, everything is final, you can submit it, and that will lead you to the next slide. Okay, that will lead you to the score, the final score sheet, because every participation, everything that you've done will appear on your final score sheet. So your final score sheet will be called the potential profile, or your potential sheet, or your final scores, okay, to put it in simple terms. Here, you would have all the 5 areas, okay? You'll have all the 5 areas like this, okay? It will be highlighted to you in this format. This is just a sample. So this is where you are required to understand 2 things, okay? The first score, the highest score, how much you score. It can be 50, it can be 60, it can be 70, or it can be 80, or it can be 90. The maximum is 100, okay? So in which area you've scored the highest, that will be your primary potential. Primary potential, that means your strongest area, okay? Your strongest strength, or your strongest potential, which is prominent by the figure, the score that you get the highest. It can be 30, that can also be the highest score, or it can be 40, that can also be your primary potential, okay? The number doesn't matter as long as it's the highest as compared to the rest of the scores, okay? So the highest would be your primary potential, and the second highest would be your secondary potential. So we have all these 5 potential in us, okay? It's as simple as that. We have all these 5 potential in us, and which one is more prominent, which one is more strong, it differs from one individual to another, okay? I may be strong in my personal potential. My friends would be strong in analytical potential. It differs from one individual to another. It doesn't have to be the same. So your primary potential is the strongest, highest score that you've scored, and the second is the secondary potential, the second highest that you've scored. Why am I telling you this? Because once you participate in once you start filling in the questionnaire, the inventory, you will be led to this page at the end, okay? And this is where you need to take note of your scores, because that will be important for our discussion tomorrow, okay? So you try to make a note, or you write it in a note sheet or on your copy, okay? Which is your highest score? Which is your highest score, whether in that area, you make sure whether it's L, or whether it's in another area, and whether it's S or P or PM or AL, so on and so forth. So that depends on your score. It doesn't have to be the same from one person to another. It's all you. You're the only one who can view this score. And this is for your own self to understand which area of strength you are, you're having, which potential you have, whether linguistic, analytical, logical potential, spatial potential, physical, mechanical potential, or personal potential. So these are some of the instructions for your test, for you to be able to carry on with the test smoothly, so you don't get confused, you don't get stuck, so you can understand yourself better, and you can be able to, proceed and make good career choices, okay? That's about it from my end. If there's anything, that you like to discuss, to question anything, feel free to ask. I'm here. That's about what you can do, what you can engage yourself in for the psychometric test by registering and clicking on the link. getting connected and filling in the questionnaire. You have 60 questions on profile, interest profile. You have 20 questions on strength about your accomplishments. You can, in which area of engagement, in which area of activity that you are mostly, your level of activity that you are engaged or you're participating, and that you are applicable to, which is applicable to you. And then you have the parental perception, which your parents are also involved here. And then you get the final score. Take note of the primary potential, which is the highest, and the secondary potential, which is the second highest. Okay. So I hope I made myself clear in this psychometric test. We'll have more discussion tomorrow about it. And it's been, a great joy for me to be able to be able to be here with you and participate with you and to help you out. The many students that are here, you probably, some of you have already made choices like which stream you're following, whether arts, science, or commerce, whether vocational training. But that is not a problem. We're here to understand ourselves better, to be able to focus on life, to be able to proceed to our goal, and to be able to achieve, the purpose of what God has planned in our lives, and to be able to be fruitful and to make an impact in life in our society. Thank you so much, and I hope you all are clear. And if there's any question, feel free to ask. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, your guidance and the way that you explained, it was very clear to us. So we have come to an end, and now, Pleasant, how are the sessions?
Hey Sharon, I enjoyed the sessions like from the very starting. Personally speaking, I just got to know that I actually have a lot of opportunities in my life. Like from throughout, following up through the very beginning when we had panel discussions, the first thing that I learned was never to say no to any kind of work that you are put in. And that was something I knew for me that I learned. It was really great. I have written a lot of quotes that I found out these speakers speaking, and it was really great.
Yeah, yes, so true. The panel discussion, the keynote speech, Mr. George's speech was so informative, but now we have come to an end.
Yeah, but this is not the end, Sharon. We have so much left to learn. Everyone, please make note of the following announcements. We have a survey right after this, which is to be filled by all the participants. The form link is shared on the screen as well as in the chat right now. It is to see what breakout sessions everyone prefers. So yeah, Sharon, you can continue about breakout sessions.
Yeah, there is a survey that is, the link will be in the chat box. And after that, we have our psychometric test that has to be filled today as soon as possible. Make sure that none of us misses it. Mr. George Chen will be analyzing the results tomorrow, which will help us to understand ourselves better.
Yeah, so the link is on the chat right now. So you can check the link over there. And the link is basically for you to tell us what preference you wish to have your breakout sessions in. And following that, we'll have our breakout sessions tomorrow where we'll get sessions with subject experts, which means we get to spend time with professionals from various fields to clear out our confusions and doubts, ask them questions, and receive answers from them.
Yes, tomorrow definitely is an important day for each one of us. It will be a fun learning experience, definitely helpful for our careers and future building.
Yes, Sharon. And we repeat, please fill in the breakout session. Like, please follow up the link, do the survey, fill it. And after that, please do fill the psychometric test, which George sir mentioned about. And then a lot is waiting for each one of us tomorrow. So let's not miss the opportunity and be here for the event, which is tomorrow as well. And be here and let us not leave this journey of finding ourselves incomplete but benefit ourselves by attending tomorrow as well.
Yes. So please join through Zoom through the same link at 10 a.m. sharp. And before we end, we would like to thank you all once again for joining, especially all our panelists and speakers. Take care. See you all tomorrow.
Yes.